Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. With my wife and kids, we run an antique shop in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, filled with some of the most unique items we can find. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc.
From home, honey. I've been gathering up supplies, bags and boxes and things that I'm going to need to organize this house when we get through it. Now, the first official day is going to be Wednesday. That's our day 1 of 4 days. Why 4 days? Well, the couple that lives there is staying at a hotel. I don't want them being out of pocket any longer than they have to be for a hotel stay. So we are working with this very tight deadline so that they're not really out of house or out of pocket more than necessary. That said, I can probably spend a little bit more time going through the garage, but then again, I'll have to rent another truck and rent the dump bin and all that stuff. So it really is kind of a rush to get this thing done in a quick amount of time. The folks are really, I guess, they're ready for this stuff to go. And this would almost be impossible to do if they weren't. And I'm glad that they're actually at a hotel, because the last thing you want to do is to start going through a pile of stuff that they've agreed should go. And then there's this emotional attachment that they can't get rid of it. So it's for their better interest and for ours, for us working, that we can work effectively and quickly and try and get this done. Initially, they actually offered me everything for just about free if I did the labor to get it out. And I said, listen, that's not really fair for you, because what, you guys are going to watch a video and I'm finding cool things that are probably worth lots of money, presumably. And it wouldn't feel right to, for me to make all this profit off of somebody else's challenges they've been having with collecting like this. So we're going to split it 50-50. I felt that was a more fair way of doing it. I'm going to put the labor in, we'll get covered for our expenses, and then we'll split whatever is remaining. But I'm going to head over to the house today. It's Tuesday night when I'm filming this, Tuesday night. And the goal is I have to come up with some kind of game plan before everybody shows up, and figure out the organization. I'm going to go over there and try and figure out at least some sort of system. I'm thinking boxes lined up where it's, donate, garbage, or sell at auction. And I just really have to sort, like bing, bang, boom, really, really fast, get through it so we can get things done. Because when the whole crew shows up, which will be Thursday, we want to make sure that we're pretty much streamlined, well-oiled machine here, and we can get everything done in a short amount of time. So I'm going to tackle the living room and see if I can at least get some of it cleared and get one of those piles sort of worked down a little bit on my own today and see if this system works. Let's hope so. Here we go. I guess the front door doesn't open very wide. Oh, what have I gotten myself into? I guess I'm just gonna have to pick a spot. Probably the best place to start would be the area right in front of the door, because we have limited access with all this stuff sitting here. I'm going to start bringing some boxes in, and then we're going to just separate stuff out. Things that are sellable, which I think will be a surprising amount of this stuff is sellable. I'll just have to put it together in lots, like a box of toys, a box of, books. Oh, it's just going to be it is going to be an awful lot of work. I didn't even notice this the other day. Old auto lamp case. People buy old automotive stuff. Okay, well, I better start bringing boxes in and then start separating the stuff out. As hard as it is going through all this stuff, I really have to be selective over what I should spend the time to sell at auction and what should really go to charity. Is there a demand for a Thomas the Tank Engine bucket that was $8 new and was purchased at a garage sale for $1? I guess. You know, somebody would probably use that maybe for trick-or-treating or who knows what. Is it worth putting through an auction, you know, and trying to get some money out of it? No. So something like this, nominal value, is not going to be worth the time to run it through auction and list it. I have to go through all of this stuff and try and pull the top 10% of the items out that actually do have good value. If you put things like this through an auction, it drags the sale down. It's going to deplete the value of the overall goods. But there are other things like the Fisher Price house, which maybe is worth, you know, 15, 20 bucks. That can go. It's not in the greatest shape, but if I find enough other Fisher Price things, I might be able to make a box of them and put them through as a lot. Lucky for me, they've entrusted me to do this task. I'm going to start filling these bags up full of stuff for charity. And that'll be the first thing we get out of here is thin out the excess. I don't think a lot of it's going to be garbage, thankfully, but there is going to be a lot of things in here that can go right back to the thrift stores or charities where she bought them from in the first place. Now in this box, we see some little folk art carolers. I see that's part of the set right there. Vintage Pyrex is sellable. So something like that. And then we've got the lid for it. That is a good sellable item. Now, if I find more Pyrex in here, that is the sort of glassware that people are actively buying right now. And I think my wife, Melissa, when she was here last, pointed out some flowery bowls like this that she liked. That is sellable. These little carolers, if there's a whole set of those, you put them out as a trio. Those are sellable. But there's lots of other stuff in here that is not sellable and was not worth hanging on to. This little Halloween pumpkin here. It's just a cheap little plastic pumpkin. Yes, it's from McDonald's. Maybe it's from the 90s, not terribly old. Is it worth keeping around your house and cluttering up your house for? No, it's not. So that's going to go to charity. But hopefully there'll be enough other things like this that I can sell to make this all worthwhile. Remember, if I don't get paid from the auction, they don't get paid either. So there's a vested interest in me to find as much stuff of value for them and for me. So the more I give to charity, it's taken right out of our pocketbook. Doing a little sorting, found an old Fisher Price pull toy, 1972, little cow. This was kind of a cool book. We Are the Ship, the story of Negro League Baseball, nicely illustrated. It's a nice little book. Cuckoo clock, some actual vintage tins. There's lots of replica tins in here too. The replicas or the newer ones aren't worth a whole lot. Going through this, there's Skeletor. Fortunately, it's the new Skeletor. That's what I don't get. The guy's got the face of a skeleton, but he's super buff. The only thing that got skeletonized on him was his face, and he's like, oh, I better work out to compensate for the lack of muscle on my face. There are lampshades. A lot of the stuff so far is not really that exceptional. There's a few cool things like this scent bottle that's got all this filigree and work on it. That's a pretty cool piece. But I haven't found any real home runs just yet. But there's bound to be something as I keep going through all this stuff. Look, there's little wooden ships under here. Surprised that didn't break with all the weight of this other stuff on top. There's a little ship model. Actually, that looks like a ship crib board. That could be folk art. See, that was $1. Somebody made this. Probably was sold later at a yard sale or something, but that's a cool piece. A ship crib board, I'd buy that. Somebody else would buy that too. We'll set that aside. So she probably did well with her $1 there. But there's also things like staplers and other stuff that you wouldn't really buy if you're thinking of reselling. I think the reselling was more or less an excuse to keep shopping. Before I get too far with decluttering the front area here, I kind of want to show you just how close it was to becoming really bad. You can already see that there is no clear path to that front door. But more than that, as the collecting or the hoard, whatever you want to call it, starts to make its way into the kitchen, the fridge could only open about 3/4 of the way. At what point do you need to stop and say something's not right? Thankfully for me, they did come to that conclusion on their own. But for some people, they don't catch it in time. Now, the things that they wanted to hang on to, they've marked green tape. So you can see anything on the shelf below they want to keep. Anything above can go. But everything else that's out in the open here, obviously they want to keep their kitchen table set. That's fine. Everything else in here can go. I do really need to applaud them on their bravery and their commitment to making this happen. And, you know, sometimes it takes a moment in your life, maybe it's not being able to be removed from your house, to decide that things need to change. But we are going to deliver them a nice, clean home. And I have made some progress already. All of this is going to charity. And you can't even tell where it came from inside the house. There is still, you can barely see that I made a dent, maybe a little here and there, but I've got 8 big bags of garbage, well, donation outside, and it barely made a dent. Well, I'm going to keep digging through, try and separate the good from the bad, from the ugly, and hopefully make a clear path so that we can work in here in the next day or two. I uncovered a church pew. There was a church pew in the musician's house too. I mean, I know that Betty Joan had it for her students, but who would have known that there was a church pew buried underneath all this? Sort of a nicely woven basket, 1920s Art Deco sort of looking scenic picture, a nice old frame. I'm separating out anything I think might be a little bit better. You can see there's a pile of stuff outside, and we're getting down to it'll just be like a little corner of things that's really sellable. It's in the old wooden box. Ford Tractor Ferguson Service Manual. CIL firearm booklet. 1947, 48, 49. Kaiser Fraser shop manual. There's a company that doesn't exist anymore. They did the Kaiser Manhattan and the Frasers and Ferguson parts book. These are all sellable. Let's get some old postcards. Maybe a rodeo postcard. That's good. That's stuff we can work with. Here's a perfect instance where they had it labeled Japan Noritake melamine ware. Noritake's a good brand. They thought that's what made it interesting. But what's actually interesting about this is that it's advertising NGK spark plugs. So this would not just sell to somebody who is interested in Noritake ware, but it would sell to an automotive enthusiast who would want this, which I presume is like a little ashtray or something along those lines. But it's the advertising, the NGK, that actually makes that interesting because it's automotive related. And as I'm going through, there's little bottles and jars. These aren't terribly old, but you know, hard to find now, quart sealers. And this, old doctor's bottles. Sometimes it was snake oil that they sold. There's, you know, the odd little gem. And then there's things like this, which are, you know, that's an advertisement for the Bouchard Gardens, which is kind of a park in our area. Not overly collectible. So we'll try and go through and get as much stuff that we can. But I still have this massive, massive pile. Although look, the door can open a bit. So that's always a plus. Okay, first load is on its way to charity. I'm excited about that. Sadly, not, like I said, not worth really trying to invest the time to sell a lot of this stuff. It's generic garage sale stuff. And I can see that they only paid like $1 or 50 cents each for it. So not going to be a huge loss for them either way. But we are gaining a little bit of space back. Still don't feel like I'm making the dent that I want to. But I know that with the truckload of stuff gone already on even just my prep day, it's going to help us gain a little bit more space when the real work begins tomorrow. Can't wait to get this stuff out of the vehicle though. I've only got about 30 minutes until the store closes, so I better get there quick. Well, it's all dropped off. The lady at the charity was looking at me kind of funny. And I got back in the car and I've been moving and working, so I was getting a little bit sweaty. I was also moving some old Christmas decorations and I got myself covered in glitter. So I'm guessing she was wondering why there was a sweaty guy covered in glitter dropping off a bunch of stuff. Not a good look for any guy, I can tell you that much. Good thing it was her and not my wife who oh man. But I'm back now. I'm gonna continue on. I'm probably gonna work another hour or so prepping and then you know, carry on, go home and come back again tomorrow when Paul's here. Starting to get some of the things packed away that I think we can sell at auction. Came across this. It's a little wooden box that somebody made, but they did just a lovely little job painting Winnie the Pooh on here. You can kind of see where the brush marks are. So somebody painted this on there. Did a nice little job of it. Somebody would buy that. After taking an entire vehicle load of Goodwill stuff well, Goodwill. I say that meaning charity, stuff over to charity. I'm getting almost another full vehicle's worth already, and I'm running out of space to put it. That's why we really need a place to process and work as soon as possible. There are random bits of costume jewelry, an old Chinese checker set game that says that it's complete. World War II German history books, I guess. Oh, there's a variety of stuff. It's kind of like a thrift store got emptied out in here, and you hope that there's going to be a few little treasures along the way. I did find, where is it? Things get buried so fast. This was a good little find, though. Baghdad coffee. Really interesting graphics on this. I've seen these before. This would retail in this condition probably somewhere around $60 to $80 Canadian. That is a piece that would be good to go up to auction on its own, because that is a nice little collector piece. And there are, of course, boxes and boxes full of things that I have not gone through yet. I did see, these were kind of cool. Look, $6 Million Man game. There's two of them. I don't know if they're any different or if the box is just different. But there's two $6 Million Man games. And look, they were on sale. $5, that's a big discount from $6 million. But again, those are sellable. It's just this long task of going through and trying to find the stuff that, you know, Mousetrap. They still make it. You find that at a garage sale for $1 or $2, that's what they paid for it. It's not worth selling. Off it goes. But the older games, the ones that are themed or that are from the 1950s or 60s or before, you can't find those everywhere. And so those will go up on their own. You know, I barely made a little dent here. A lot of this is getting into more empty boxes and stuff now. I was hoping to get this all done tonight so we could, Paul and I could focus on the living room and bedroom tomorrow, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I'll see how much more I can do before I call it a day, but it's getting close to that now. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, like this 40s inspired sort of pinup lady's purse in with Little Mermaid and some other things. You can see some Value Village stickers on there. I think it's just, you know, they go out shopping, find a few things they like, throw it in a pile. Not much for organization going on here whatsoever. Here's one that's likely fun for the kids. The game of Pilsner. Gee, Dad, when can we play? Not until you finish your Pilsner, son. Ha ha ha. Those were the days. I've never seen a Pilsner board game before. They generally don't market games and things because there is the, you know, the association with children, and it's often frowned upon to have your child drunk and going to school. So you don't see a lot of stuff like this. Oh, it says right on it, look, must be legal drinking age to play. Well, there you have it. I guess this one is for the adults, but still, never seen it before. I guess there are a few things in here I'm going to come across that never seen before. That's one of them. Okay. Looks like some collector coins. Or coins in wrappers, at least. They might just be quarters and dollars. We go through those later on. It's this book, The City of Manchester, 1933. Lots of advertisements and photographs. If you're from Manchester, you might think that's kind of interesting. I'll put that in the keep pile, or the sell at auction pile, I should say. This looks like it's made out of bottle caps. Peanut vendor is what that says, peanut vendor. So I guess you put that on your table and you put your peanuts, I guess maybe your peanuts in there and your shells below or something along those lines. It's got a 50s kind of vibe to it. True View. The happiest invention since a child's laughter. A three-dimensional viewer. Ooh, they look happy. That's pretty neat. Nice that it's got the box and everything. It must have been purchased at an antique store. A price tag of $28 on it. Some more golden books. This is kind of cool. If somebody's into this sort of stuff, this is a nice little kitchen set. I think it's back to the 60s or so, or 70s. It's got that sort of harvest orange kind of look. Earth tones are really big in the 70s. But the condition's nice. It looks like the whole set's there. That'll be a keeper. I've made some more progress. I've got some things set aside to go off to charity, but I am going to call it a night tonight. I did not get anywhere near what I wanted to get done and accomplished, and that was getting this area cleaned out. The charities are closed for the day. It's 9 o'clock at night. Look how sunny it is out. It's 9 o'clock at night here in Canada, and I can't get all this done today, so I'm gonna have to call it a night, sadly, and come back with Paul, and we'll start hauling this stuff over to charity and then see what we've got tomorrow. Well, that's it for tonight for me. That was 3 hours of work done. I got an entire vehicle load of stuff dropped off at charity, and another vehicle load ready to go for first thing in the morning. Now, as I'm going through everything, I'm realizing that probably about 75 or 80% of the things in that main floor area, the living room, dining room, are probably going to go right back to charity where they came from. They get to make their money twice on it, as that's the real racket. And I am having a little bit of doubts that, you know, I'll even be able to make enough money from this auction sale just to get my costs back. So I am a little bit nervous at this point, but honestly, I think I've got to change gears. If I'm thinking about this as a business perspective to make money, which I should be, because that's the whole reason we took this on, or one of the main reasons we took this on, I've got to look at it different, because it's going to be an uphill battle. This really has to be just a focus on getting this family healthy and getting them in a better environment. And if I stay focused on that, I think we'll make good progress. So tomorrow I'm back at it with Paul. We're going to work through the main floor, try and separate out some of the treasures or sellable items as I was doing today. And hopefully, this is my goal. I'd like to get the bedroom and the living and dining room area completely emptied out by the end of the next episode and get that main floor basically done. That'll leave us the basement and garage to do when we have Hans and Zenobia and Josh and Dakota, which should put us on track for our 4-day timeline. But again, a lot of work to do. So stay tuned. Let's see if we can get it complete. And more importantly, let's see if we can start getting their house put back in order for them. So subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for more episodes. We'll see you guys all soon. Bye for now.